And I'm going to mute the microphone. Hi, everyone. I'm Natalie Furness, and I'm sitting here with Ray and his wife, Mary Jo. You guys want to say hello?
Hi.
Can you guys hear me? I'm waiting for someone. Okay, there we go. I got a confirmation. Good. We are so excited to have you all joining us today. I'll be helping Ray with tech support and the live chat feature. But while we're waiting for everyone to join us, can you drop your location in the chat box? I would love to see where y'all are coming from. And typically with webinars, there's a bit of a delay between the time you actually hit enter and the time that we see it come through on our screen. So, all right. I see Amy from California. Welcome. We've got Casey from Eaton, Colorado. Lots of Coloradoans, welcome. And someone from Austin. I used to live in Texas, so I'm sure, are enjoying some warm weather. We're up in Colorado enjoying the rain. New Mexico, Kylie. Wow, welcome. And I see we've got some Leslie from Tampa, Florida. I've lived everywhere. I lived in Orlando too, so I'm right there with you, girl. All right. Well, welcome everybody. That's exciting to have so many of you join us from all over the country today. Ray is finishing getting ready. I wanted to let you know that at the end of today's webinar presentation, for those of you who stay to the very end, you'll be able to ask specific questions about your family situation for Ray to answer. So that's really exciting for you to stay to the end. To get us started, though, I would love to hear about the most concerning issue you're currently having with your children or child. If you can limit it to a word or two and type it in the chat box, that would be great. We're all moms here. I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old little boys myself, so you're in good company. But I'd love to see what you guys are currently struggling with. Sibling rivalry, Carrie. Sleep and tantrums, Amy. I hear ya. Oh, Debbie, disrespect. That's a tough one. I know that's tough. Lauren, extreme emotions at 3.5. Do you happen to have an NF child, Lauren? Sarah, you seem to have the same thing, a 3-year-old who is over-emotional and not logical. Yep, I'm seeing extreme emotions from the NF. My 5-year-old is an NF too, so I feel your pain. All right, this is great. So when we start the Q&A at the end of the session, we'll try to get it to as many questions as we have time for. So I want you guys to begin thinking of the question that you want to ask at the very end and maybe jot it down on a sheet of paper. Because of different bandwidth speeds, like I said, you may notice a delay between the time you actually ask your question and when it comes through on our end. And speaking of technology, what I'd like for you guys to do is to make sure we have the best experience today. Just take a minute and turn off everything that's operating in the background of whatever device that you're on, including email systems, Skype, iTunes, or any extra programs you see that will help your bandwidth speed. And I assume that most, if not all of you on here are, in fact, parents. And that does not come without distractions most of the time. But if possible, if you can silence your phone, close the door, give yourself a little bit of time to focus, you will enjoy this webinar and learning about your family. And after all, you definitely deserve it. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and get us started. I'll turn it over to Ray. And welcome, everyone.
Thank you, Natalie. Okay, let's get started. First of all, I'd like to welcome you to an introduction to my parenting course, Understanding Your Child. I'm Ray Lincoln, and I'm so thankful to each and every one of you who tuned in today to learn, of course, what has been a focus of my life's work for many, many years. I know you're going to get a lot out of today's webinar, so please stay through to the end, and I hope that I'll keep you wanting to. At the end, as has been mentioned, we have a special bonus offer for those who complete the journey with us today. And we're offering a drastically reduced rate to register for the full online parenting course, which comes with 5 complete sessions and a ton of bonus materials to allow you to become the expert in understanding and knowing your child. So stay tuned. You really don't want to miss this offer. Okay? First of all, let's get something straight. Parenting is hard. So congratulations on accepting the most difficult and demanding job in the universe. Why is it the most difficult? Because you're raising the most complicated organism in the universe. How can that be simple or easy? Claim that honor that you really deserve. You see, parenting can be full of trauma, joy, satisfaction, disappointment, and heartache. Imagine this. A very distressed mom came to me and said she was sitting in bed with her 6-year-old daughter, and without warning, she said in a low, determined voice, "I will kill you one day." Shocked and stunned, she couldn't think of what to say. My point here is, parenting can be like that. A challenge full of high-stakes drama at times. Thankfully, this story that I talked about came to a great conclusion. Now, when I woke this morning, I looked in the mirror. That's not a good thing for me to do. I'm a little weathered, you see. When I looked at myself, I could see very clearly how I was made on the outside. But what I couldn't see is how I was made on the inside. Now, you are the expert on your child's behavior, the outside. But wouldn't you love to know what your child is thinking and feeling when they do or don't do what you ask them to? And wouldn't you love to know what inner urges and drives are shaping their lives and what are not? There is a mirror that will show us how we're made on the inside. And I promise you, before we're through this webinar, you're going to see something of how your children are made on the inside and why they feel, think, and act the way they do. Then, if you want to carry your knowledge further, I've developed that full parenting course that will complete the picture and show you how to respond to these situations and challenges and many. Bear with me a moment as I explain what in the world we're talking about. Each of us, including your child, has a package, if you like, of core strengths inside that we call temperament. And these urges or drives shape our lives and develop distinct preferences. It's not a recent discovery. In fact, it was written about some 2.5 millennia ago. Books have been written about how the great novelists down through the ages cast their characters according to these 4 temperaments. And when we read the novel, we say, oh, I know how she feels. I know what she'll do next. And in the novel, she does. And then we say, oh, I know that other character. He's that kid at the end of the block. You see, great novels are real to life. From the ancient Greeks to the present day, we have used and studied how we are made on the inside. And today the assessments, like my temperament key, are used more than any other psychological test put together. Tens of millions of people have done these tests. And with all the research, we can now know with astounding detail how a person thinks and feels and why they act the way they do, and many other things. We can even know how to motivate them. There's a tremendous amount of help for the parent. By the way, have you downloaded the Child Temperament Key? That's where to start to find out how your child is made on the inside. If you haven't downloaded it, don't do it now. But after this hour, schedule some time and find out. Why is it so important? Well, here's an eye-opener for most of us. You can't bond with your child. Yes, that's right. You can't. You see, they have to bond with you, the parent. And, listen to this, they won't bond with you if they feel you don't understand them. Understanding your child and their hidden urges of temperament is the super key to great parenting and lasting bonds. So let me illustrate that. You go down to the local coffee shop and you start talking with someone. Then suddenly you realize this person just simply does not understand you. Do you want to continue the conversation? No. You even avoid them. Your child avoids you, disconnects from you too, if they feel you really don't understand who they are. We all want to create a bond with our children as early as possible, and this becomes desperately important when teenage comes. Now note this. Seldom is the child the same temperament as the parent. That's something a lot of parents have not come to terms with. I find most parents parent by the BLM method. Do you know what it is? Be like me. We were children once, weren't we? And we think we know how our child should act. So we fall into this trap of parenting them like ourselves, like how we are made on the inside. Your child is most likely different from you, and the BLM method just won't work. It can actually make them defiant and angry. I wonder if you've experienced that. Now, another common problem parents face is information overload of advice plus one-size-fits-all parenting techniques. I walked into Barnes & Noble some time ago to inspect the parenting section, and there were 100 or more books on parenting. Can you believe it? Which one do you choose? Now, probably one someone recommended, but will it work for you? That's the million-dollar question. So I said to myself, well, I'll just have to write another. But I wrote one that shows you how to parent your child according to who your child is, according to their temperament, not yours or someone else's. And it's now an Amazon bestseller, and people in over 8 countries are reading it. To illustrate that point, a mum came to see me and said she'd read one of those other books on how to parent. I won't tell you its name, it's popular, and you may have read it. She said she applied its advice to her 4 children. One of them responded very well, and it worked perfectly for that child. But the same methods made the other children mad. She asked me, what's wrong with my other 3 children? Well, we did a child temperament key on all 4, and as I suspected, the one child that responded well happened to be the same temperament as the author of the book. The other children were of different temperaments. We changed the way the mum parented the other 3 so that she was parenting them according to their temperaments, and then all responded well. Please understand your child and parent them according to their temperament. If we don't, we anger them instead of teaching them. I want today's webinar to introduce you to the 4 temperaments and give you some of the understanding and know-how that has transformed so many homes. The complete parenting course on understanding your child, which I'll tell you more about later, will teach you what you really need to know to be successful. If you've completed the temperament keys for your children, you will have 2 letters that comprise the child's temperament. They're either SP or SJ or NT or NF, and you'll find them in the 4 letters you have. The letters are simply shorthand for all the information and proven science we now know about your child. And please note, in the stories I'm about to tell you, the names and some personal details have been changed, of course. Would you like to take a look at what the 4 temperaments look like? Well, we'll do it right now, but just wait until you get to the last one, the NF. They'll test you to the limits. The first is the SP child. It may be your child. If not, it may be the child your child is playing with. They're charming, pleasant, and they live in the excitement of the moment. They're very active and tactically skilled, and they crave freedom. But they're also brave risk takers, daring at heart. And if you say, see that log there? You'd better look before you leap. They say, leap, and over the log they go and break their leg. And And now they're in hospital, leg up in traction, and they're grinning from ear to ear and saying, please tell all my friends, I want them to come and see me. And if you happen to be an SJ parent, you're probably saying, you don't want them to see you like this. You did a foolish thing. But they're pleading because that leg is now a badge of honor, solid proof that they're daring and brave, don't you see? You have to understand them and the urges that shape them. They want to be known for those strengths that make them who they really are. And the SP is all about action and seldom sit still. And they're distracted by anything that looks interesting. So they often get diagnosed with ADHD. A psychologist in South Africa emailed me and said her son was on Ritalin, and after reading my book, I'm a Keeper, she took him off Ritalin. But don't you do that without consulting your doctor. She did what my book, I'm a Keeper, says to do to achieve learning and control over those urges. And she wrote, first, I want to tell you 3 things. What you teach in your book works. Second, it's hard. And third, I'd rather face the hard training than have my son on medication. Medication is needed in some cases, but sometimes it's prescribed when training methods can do the job. And when trained to control those urges, the child is then in mastery of them, not the other way around. SPs are naturally all about action and squeezing the last drop of pleasure out of every moment. They're exciting and wonderful. Now, the SJ is different. In fact, the opposite. Oh, but still wonderful. And they're pleasant and charming, but cautious. They want to be responsible and reliable. And if you say, see that log? You'd better look before you leap. They hear, look, and they peer around the log and shrink back, unwilling to risk a broken leg. All SJ parents applaud this caution. You see, SJ children are also helpers too. And they love helping. Please them. Another mum came to me with this story. I was at the kitchen counter making cookies, and my 3-year-old SJ daughter was standing on a stool beside me and was helping. Suddenly I looked, and the flour was everywhere. Without thinking, I yelled, "What a mess!" And she dropped her head, backed down off the stool, and slunk away. 2 hours later, she did something I had never heard her do before. I called out, "Honey, come and help me." And she shouted, "No." "What did I do wrong?" the mom asked. I said, "You didn't understand how she was made. She needed to be a helper. Who she was at the core. And you opposed that strength forcefully. This is how you do it." She actually tried this later, and it went like this. The mom suddenly saw the mess, the flour everywhere. And she turned, took a deep breath, smiled, and said in a tender voice, "Oh, honey, when I was your age, I don't think I could have made a bigger mess. Would you like to help me clean it up?" And the little girl said, "Uh-huh," and proceeded to be the helper she really was. Understand your child. know those urges of their temperament, and don't clash with them head on. It makes sense, doesn't it? One more story about the major need of an SJ child. A mum came to see me and told this. My daughter is 6, and we'd lived in the same house, same friends, same school, same church for 6 years. One day I said to her, "Honey, we're going to be moving to a new home in a town a long way from here. Daddy has a new job there, and it's going to be exciting." And she broke down in tears. For the 2 weeks before we moved, I couldn't calm her. I said, "You'll be having new friends." And she really broke down in tears. She'd been a great student, good grades. Teacher said she wished all the kids in the class were like my daughter. We got to the new town, and the grades plummeted. The teacher called and said my daughter was the worst behaved in class, and I said, "Can't be." But it was. A few weeks later, I said to her, "Honey, Daddy's going to be living somewhere else, and you'll see him occasionally, but I'm going to be taking care of you. I promise." And she broke down in tears again. About 2 weeks after that, she made a serious attempt at suicide and was rushed to the hospital. After what seemed like an eternity, the doctor came out and said, "We did all we could, and we only just saved her." It was then this mother came to me. We discovered that her daughter was an SJ, the temperament whose need to feel secure is great. We put all the routines back in place in the home, did all that we could to create a sense of security and routine, doing things the same tomorrow as we did today. That was part of it. And in 3 months, she was back to normal. Grades were up, and the behavior was good. What's the lesson that makes such sense? Please understand who your child is and what beats inside them. Learn how to parent an SJ, who in this case craters in the face of insecurity. Now, the NT child is different, very different. They're typically cool, calm, and collected. All about their heads, and perhaps one story here will suffice. Jake was 9 and was upstairs creating a fantastic Lego model of his own design. His mother, who was annoyed that he wasn't downstairs doing his chores, this was a constant problem, marched up the stairs and said in an emotional and strong voice, "Jake, you're supposed to be downstairs doing your chores. Get downstairs and do your chores." She turned, went downstairs. 10 minutes later, he still wasn't down there. Now, you see, mothers have a strange thing that happens to them at times. It's called rising heat on the inside. She was really angry. She stormed up those stairs and shouted at him again, "Jake, stand up." Slowly he stood up. "I told you to get downstairs and do your chores," she railed, and she truly unloaded on him. She'd had enough. She called him names. She even cursed him in her anger, while he stood there just looking at her. She said the thing that angered her most was that she couldn't even get him to flinch. I asked him later, "What were you thinking when your mother dressed you down like that?" He said, "Something's wrong with my mother. She needs help." You see, this mum did not understand an NT. NTs despise emotion and won't do anything that does not make sense to them. Jake despised his mother, and she would have to take the long, long road back to earn that lost respect. But she soon learned how to make it make sense to him, and you'll learn this too in my course, Understanding Your Child, along with other NT secrets. As parents, we can do a lot of harm, not only to our child, but also to ourselves, when we don't know who our child is and how to parent them according to their temperament. Oh, now, for that NF child who's your greatest treasure and your worst nightmare, both all rolled up together in one. One moment, their words can be dripping with sweet emotion as they romantically intone, "I love you, Mommy." And the very next, filled with caustic bitterness as they stamp their foot and say, "I hate you." And we say, "What's going on? What in the world can we do?" How do you raise a child whose emotions are so volatile and unpredictable? And mark this: if these children are not taught how to control those emotions, they will end up very reactionary, all to their very real harm. We'll learn. The NF child is complicated, and many of the inner urges like sensitivity, passion, introspection, and their strong desire for harmony are issues we need to learn how to direct without making matters worse. One story will suffice, although I could tell you many, many stories. Jesse was 8. According to his parents, he'd always been very prone to getting angry, but of late, it was getting worse. And they had done all they could to control it without any success. His anger is violent and very frequent, they reported. What can we do? His brother, twice his size, is scared of him. And we've got to confess at times we're scared of him too. I said, "Go home. And the next time he is angry, whoever is nearest, go up to him immediately. Put your arm around him and say with obvious care and love in your voice this: 'Oh, Jesse, I'm so sorry you're hurt. What can I do to help you?' Then phone and tell me what he does." 2.5 hours later, I got a phone call. "It was amazing," his mother said. Well, I said, "What was amazing?" "He broke down into tears," she said. "Fine, then make an appointment and come on in." We did the temperament key, and Jesse tested out as an INFJ. This is a very rare type of the NF temperament. But it was all I needed to know. First, I made sure the parents understood what those letters meant and who he was. And also that anger was okay as long as, when he got angry, he did the right thing and not the wrong thing. So we taught him to do the right thing after he got angry. And he was quite receptive to finding out how to control his anger because he hated his anger. Then we taught the parents how to help him to go to bed happy and not angry. Jesse learned well. And in 2 weeks, the mum called up and reported, "We have a peaceful home." 3 months later, all was still well. Jesse could use all that emotional strength for great purposes, not destructive ones. You see, with the NF, mark this, it's not what you say. It is how you say it. And teaching an NF child how to control their emotions so that they are master of themselves rather than the emotions mastering them is the greatest gift you can give them. Please learn how, we'll tell you. Parenting is all about understanding your child before you can teach, discipline, or develop their urges in the way that makes a child and a parent happy. All this just makes sense. Don't oppose the urges that are going to shape your child's life. Direct them, develop them. And we can never do that if we don't understand them. So, how do you get this understanding? I'm about to tell you about that, and also about that very special bonus I mentioned earlier that's only for those who register for the course while this webinar is still running. The first step is to complete the child temperament key and learn how your child is made. The key will give you 4 letters that identify your child's type and temperament. Next, you need to learn what those letters mean and how they apply to your child, so you can parent your child according to how your child is made, not according to tips and advice that are not applicable to your child. So let's recap why you showed up today and what this program can do for you. You want to fully understand how your child is made on the inside and to parent them according to their strengths and drives. You want to make parenting easier by having a blueprint to follow. You may have discovered that your child is very different from you, and you may need a guide. You want to prevent those terrible happenings that come from not bonding with your child and not understanding what really motivates them. Remember, nothing I've shared with you today is only theory. Temperament has been researched, observed, and documented since 380 BC. My contribution to the decades of study is to take this knowledge and turn it into real application. That's where my parenting courses can help you. And the first course is called Understanding Your Child. This course is based on my I'm a Keeper parenting workshop that I present live. But I've made it easier for parents with busy schedules, tight budgets, and who would need expensive babysitters by creating an online version. And to top that off, I've decided that I'll add bonuses that were never included in the live presentation. I'm about to tell you about them. Now you can begin the process of understanding your child so you can parent according to who your child is, right in the confines of your own home. And both parents can take the course together or at their individual convenience. Here's what you'll get. The main body of the course is composed of 5 video lessons. Each lesson has a snapshot to preview and tell you what to focus on as you view the main video, and comes with a downloadable PDF to guide you through internalizing and applying what you are learning. The first lesson will fully immerse you in the understanding and meaning of the letters. You'll not only learn the detail of your child's temperament, but we will add in the additional 2 letters along with their meanings to fully understand their complete type as well. You'll learn why some children feel different and suffer from low self-images as a result. Those of you who happen to have that rare NF child definitely need this course. It can prevent catastrophic consequences. But other temperaments suffer from negative self-talk as well. It will reveal causes of sibling rivalry, of which you're probably unaware. If you have more than one child, or plan to, discover why siblings irritate each other and how to resolve issues calmly and with confidence. Have you ever wondered why your children are so different from each other? We'll discover why children raised in the same household can be so very different in attitudes, and how to manage the cocktail of emotions that may be plaguing your home. The second lesson will help you understand the active SP. You will receive practical advice of how to channel this unending energy into positive and constructive outlets. You'll dive deeper into your understanding of how this little tactical mind thinks, acts, and behaves, giving you the upper hand in what can seem like a tough child to manage at times. And even if you don't have this rambunctious SP child, chances are you will encounter plenty of them. After all, they make up about 40% of the population. The third lesson will focus on the SJ. There are more SJs in our society than any of the other temperaments. Although the SJ can be a joy to parent due to their rule-abiding, cooperative, helpmate tendencies, they also struggle with wanting more than their fair share of control. In younger ages, when limits are being tested, these little SJs can present parents with a stubborn streak that can make heads spin. In this lesson, you'll learn how to best manage their day-to-day struggles and how to deal with insecurities that can derail the best of intentions. In lesson 4, we'll enter the world of the N's with a careful look at the NT. NT children can leave you scratching your head, especially to an SJ or SP parent who can sometimes find it difficult to relate to this way out of the box thinker and analyzer. You'll learn how to match logic for logic in this highly cerebral child. You'll discover how to stimulate their interests, place them on a path to success, and develop a wonderful loving bond. It's important that with any N child, they feel understood and accepted, since they typically feel very different from their S peers. The final lesson will help you understand the complicated NF. Emotions are the most difficult road to navigate. And the NF child struggles with an overabundance of emotions on a daily basis. This course is an absolute must, especially if you happen to be raising one of these wonderfully loving but highly emotional beings. The NF child must be understood and taught how to fully handle such a variety of feelings and turn them into a positive outcome and prevent being crippled by low self-esteem, low self-worth, negative self-talk. In addition to the full parenting course, there are several bonuses that you'll receive. First, you'll have complete access to 3 of my ebooks. First, how to create a more peaceful home. Second, stop the yelling. And third, 2 parental tasks to keep the volume down. All 3 of these ebooks are filled with practical application that you can begin implementing in your home immediately for instant results. The second set of bonuses include 2 audio recordings. Developing your child's self-image by temperament, and the greatest tool for handling anger in a sensitive child. These audio recordings are perfect to enhance your understanding of temperament in these situations. And if you remember, there is a very special bonus. I promised only to those who stayed with me to hear about it and who register for Understanding Your Child while this webinar is running. Here it is, your very special bonus that only goes to those who purchase the course during this webinar will be this. Let me explain. The online parenting course that I just described sells normally for $130. I'm offering a $33 discount for the next 7 days following this webinar, so you will be able to receive the full 5-course program plus the 3 ebooks and the 2 audiobooks for $97 until the cart closes on May 17th, 2017 at 11:59 p.m. Mountain Time. However, there's more. If you purchase before the end of this webinar, here's the special bonus. I'm offering an additional $22 off, so you can get the course and all the bonuses for only $74.95, a total discount of $55 off the regular program price. Now, if you'd like to take advantage of this discount, we're placing a link in the chat box now that will take you to the registration page. The testimonials and experiences of thousands of parents tell us that application of this understanding about their children has revolutionized their homes into peaceful, bonded relationships. And we are confident you can have that experience. So confident that we're going to offer a 30-day satisfaction guarantee. You can get the details of the guarantee from the link on the checkout page. There are just minutes left. So click on that link right away and enter your details while we go to the Q&A session, then come back and enter into the conversation. Ask your questions, listen to those of others you may hear, and answer to some of the issues that probably are yours as well. So what are you waiting for? Start the process and begin to enjoy parenting like never before. Enjoy the pleasure of seeing your child glow as he or she realizes you really do understand them. Bring the peace into your home that only understanding can give. Learn more about how wonderfully your children have been made and how important their strengths are to your home and our world at large. And be the parent you've longed to be, a parent who truly understands their child. I'm going to begin the countdown timer that will mark the end of the special bonus pricing. So click on that link right away and enter your details while we go to the Q&A session. Then come back and enter into the conversation. Ask your questions and listen to those of others. And as I said, you might hear the answer to some of the issues in this. Okay. At this time, I'm happy to take questions for those attending the live session.
Thank you so much, Ray. I know that I did this parenting program before with my, like I said, I have a 3- and 5-year-old, 2 little boys. One's an NF, one's a very, very stubborn SJ, and this has made a huge difference in my households. So I'm excited for all of you that are taking this opportunity right now. If you'd like to go ahead and type in your questions in the chat box, I'll read them out loud to Ray so that he can answer them for you. We'll get to as many as we possibly can within our time frame. So go ahead and start typing your questions in the chat box. I know that Lisa asked how long each course is.
Okay, each course, it depends, because as you go through the course, you may want to follow the instructions of the PDF, and etc. But normally they're about half an hour. And the reason why they're short like that is you get a whole host of information, and then you go and practice it, and then you find the results as a result of that. So 5 times 30 minutes.
Okay.
A little bit longer.
And then Ingrid is asking, how do I motivate my SP 6-year-old to be ready for school on time, stay focused during homework, and be respectful at mealtime?
Okay, we got 3 questions here. The first is, how do I get my child to get ready to go to school? Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
On time.
On time, yes.
Tough for an SP.
I'm going to give you something that you can work out some very interesting solutions to. An SP child will respond very positively to making something either a game or a competition, where they compete against a sibling or where they compete against themselves and they cut time off. And when they do, they may get a special reward. You can stay up an extra 10 minutes tonight if you cut your time, etc., you see. So this is a very exciting temperament, and excitement must be there in whatever they do. If there's no excitement, they're bored. Now, you also asked, what was the next thing?
Stay focused during homework.
Oh, stay focused during homework. Homework for the SP. Now, I can't answer everything for you, but I'll just give you one thing here that's very important. If they are memorizing something or having to repeat back and learn something, the SP is all about action. They learn best when they are active. It is better to say, okay, let's go outside. We're going to shoot some hoops. And while we do, I'm going to ask you the questions and you're going to tell me. And they answer while they're active. And you'll be surprised how the SP mind operates smoothly and well when that is really taking place. And the last thing I think was respect. How do you get them to respect you?
At mealtime.
At mealtime.
At mealtime.
Okay. Well, now, this is slightly off the question, but it is so basic and important, I need to say it here. No child respects their parent if their parent does not show respect for the child. So, in a mealtime situation, you need to respect them. Now, that doesn't mean to say, do what they say. No, it doesn't mean anything like that. But respecting them means that you're showing them that they are little people of worth. Now, once you do that, you may find some immediate reactions. Now, if they're not respecting you, however, I want to say this, and this will answer many questions. You must have boundaries. Boundaries for all temperaments. If you do not have boundaries, then they will not respect you. They do not respect an adult that says, don't do this, and nothing happens. Or you have to do such and such, and they don't follow through. Respect comes from a real consistency. So there are other things, but let's go on to another one. I hope that helps.
Michelle did ask, how long do you have access to the course? I can actually answer that real quickly. The you will get a replay of this webinar emailed to you after we log off here, so you can access it. However, the drastically discounted rate is only available for another 3 minutes and 55 seconds. If you want to get the $55 off of the course, once you purchase the full course, you have access to it for as long as you have a computer. All right. Lindsay asks, my 8-year-old NF son will often state that I'm horrible, following some sort of discipline, etc. How do I help him?
This is a very, very interesting situation and very important. The NF will do this. You see, their emotions range all the way up to loving like no one else can love, and all the way down to hating like no one else can hate. And yes, after you've disciplined them, they hurt. And hurt is immediately linked to anger. And anger in that little emotional child that cannot control those emotions will spill out right away in hate and dislike, and they'll say something bitter to you. And when you're thinking about it, you can see that what they're trying to do is hurt you back. You see? Now, in this situation, we're going to have to, first of all, do some very important teaching on how to control those emotions. Now, when the child says to, because we can't do that right now, when the child says to you, I hate you, or you're mean, or you're horrible, then I want you to immediately say to that child, that is going to get you more consequences if you don't stop and then turn away and walk away. They'll follow you. They'll hammer at you. Say nothing. Absolutely nothing more. Let the child process what has just happened. They have said something to you and you've withdrawn yourself from them. In other words, they've broken a relationship with you. And when they break a relationship with you, that there's a natural consequence. Natural consequences work better than arbitrary consequences. That natural consequence is they've broken the relationship, you're walking off. You can't talk to them. And that will be very disturbing to your little NF child. However, that NF child, if you will stay consistent, will soon learn. Now, after a while, of course, you're going to communicate with them again.
Great. I did want to get to Carrie's question. She asked if the tests are standardized for kids with special needs. Her son seems to struggle with attachment, but comes up as an NT, but he ends up having explosive anger like an NF. So if there's any special needs issues.
Okay, first of all, the temperament key for adults and the temperament key for children are designed so that we can get a reading of what those core urges and drives are right at the core of who that person is, whether they're a child of special needs or not. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of things here that it'll help you see what it can do and what this can't do for special needs children. First of all, there are many special needs that the knowledge and understanding of what the child is at the core will not help that specific need. But realize this, that when the child is treated according to who they really are at the core, they feel comfort. They respond with thankfulness because they are understood, and a greater comfort level is given to a special need child who probably needs it more than any other. Okay? So that's very important. And right at the end of your question, you said
that they tested as an NT, but has explosive anger like an
yes.
NF.
Yes, that explosive anger like an NF. I want you to go back and look at those TF questions in the child temperament key, and I want you to do them again. I want you to really be very careful so that we get a true reading, and you're trying to read them, remember, of whether they are a T or an F. It may be that you have it wrong. If you don't have it wrong, then this child is an NT, and they're not feeling that they are being treated with the worth that they really are. And being a special needs child, that actually amplifies that problem. And what you'll have to do in a situation like that is, first of all, do that test again, and then treat them with the greatest respect as an NT child. Help them use the NT strengths. And that should really make quite a difference. If it doesn't, then, well, maybe you should send me an email.
As you guys noticed, the time expired for the drastically discounted rate on the full program. We will take one more question before we wrap things up. If anyone else has specific questions, keep in mind that Ray does offer coaching sessions, individual coaching sessions. If you're having a specific problem in your family, you can email him directly to get those questions answered, schedule a coaching session, something like that. So, Todd, I did want to bring up Todd's question. He actually asked, what do we have to deal with his emotions? What types of things do you offer?
For adults?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we offer a lot. Actually, I've written a book called Intelligently Emotional. And that book will take you into the emotional world, describe what happens in the brain, how things function, and give you many, many answers to actually handling those emotions. There are many adults, many adults that were not trained as children to learn how. And as adults, it's a far bigger lesson to learn. So therefore, I would first recommend, because I can't go into the whole situation at the moment, that you get that book. It's available, of course, anywhere.
Great. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. Again, you'll be receiving the replay of this webinar in your email following the close of today's session. I invite you all, please, to check out interkinetics.com, send an email to Ray or his wife, Mary Jo, schedule a one-on-one coaching session if you'd like. He has helped me personally with my marriage, with myself. I'm an NF as well. And Todd, I understand having to deal with major emotions at an adult age. It is very tough. But he has been able to help me in ways that no other counselor has in my 36 years of existence. So this definitely is a life-changing program. I truly, truly recommend that if you can do the parenting course, it will make a huge difference in your family. But thank you all so much. And we'll look forward to hopefully seeing and chatting with you sometime in the future. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.